There we go. We're live again. It's Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. This is a live Q&A from trainingsites.io. It's James speaking. Again, these are totally unscripted. Anything goes when it comes to starting, building, growing an education business. And of course, all things AI, whatever that is this week, since things change very quickly. So thanks again if you're just joining me. If you're watching this after, put any comments and stuff below if you do have questions, agreements, disagreements. I'm open to anyone's feedback. And you know, there's so much stuff happening. It's really a great opportunity. If you've got something really cool, put it in there. Let me know what's going on, and I'll do my best to cover it, or at least talk about it in one of the next sessions. And if you haven't already, please make sure to go to trainingsites.io/join and join the community. There's all sorts of great stuff in there, and I'll try not and pitch it, but that is my business model, is pitching these privately branded campuses, and it's something that we build for our clients as well. So who's here? Let me know who's here. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know where you're from. I believe I do have, I got my comments figured out last week. Last week, actually, oh, there we go. There's Bill. So let me just try this and see what happens. There we go. Bill's there. Perfect. Yeah, I got it working. So last time, thanks for coming on, Bill. Better ball player. There we go. Yeah, so last week I had it mucked up where I didn't know how to do the actual live chat. So I think I put it in place now, and it shows up in a better way so that I'm able to hopefully make sense of it when you have some questions in. If you do have any comments, just put them in, and again, I'll answer them best I can, and especially questions, so let me know who's here. I got lots of stuff I can talk about because there's so much cool stuff happening, but I would really, really like to answer any questions that you have about starting, building, and growing an education business. And I don't want it just to be about what's new, what's not new, but I'm just trying to think, like, what are the things that are happening in the space, and how do they affect us if we want to have an education business? And I'm talking about obviously people who are in the course business or selling courses, but doesn't necessarily have to be, because anyone who's in the education space, things are changing really, really quickly. So kind of interesting to see what happens again in this whole space. We got 8 people on. Let me know what's going on. It's okay to lurk, but if you do have an area that you want covered, please put it in there, and we can kind of chat about it as to what's going on. I do have a video actually that I'm going to do after this, and I'll kind of share it with you because it's important. Obviously, I watched the video after. It'll be a recorded one, but I just want to kind of show this to you because there's something that's come up in the last little while that I think really has to be addressed. And I did a video, what's today, Wednesday? I think I did a video on Monday or Friday. I can't remember now. What I did is I came up a list of, well, last week what happened is that OpenAI opened or created this thing called Agent Builder, which allows anyone to basically create their own agents. And I think it's really cool, really, really, really effective, and it's going to make a huge difference for us. And one of the things I did is I came up with these 100 ideas on agents that you can build. And the important part is these particular ones, you can build them, but you can actually sell them. And I think there's an opportunity to really monetize your education business, your space. But the thing that with this is I was going over this and I was taking a look at it, and there's 100 on the list. You can come up with, I came up with this list just by, using a prompt. But when I was looking at it, I was trying to figure out, well, if I was going to build one, which ones are the important ones to me? And even though I came up with a list of 100 different ones, if I look at my business, they don't all need agents. And I think that's going to be part of a problem, that a lot of people are going to be trying to actually build things that don't need to be built, or they're going to try and build it as an agent when it could be just something that you do with a prompt, or you create a custom GPT for, or that you have a web app that maybe you've actually vibe coded or created. So in as much as we've got, prompting and custom GPTs and apps and agents, we've got all of these different ways to interface with all of the AI tools and personalities that we run into. There's different times for different uh, parts of AI that we should do. So I actually put together a little bit of a framework or a checklist to go through, and that's what I'm going to cover later today. So if you do have some questions about any of these things like custom GPTs or apps or agents, I've built some myself that we can go over. I can kind of show you how they work. And also why you may not need them, because there's a whole bunch of reasons that you don't even bother, or you shouldn't even bother creating or considering these. So, John, welcome on. There we go. How-to advice for the legal subject. Kelly saying, take a break. I had to take a break for emotional clarity. The video with the AI agent was so groundbreaking a few weeks ago that I had to rest my brain. Let me put this one on. And again, I'm just learning how to do this thing here. So a few weeks ago, I had to rest my brain and ponder. I realized that I could be emotionally attached. Yeah. Okay. I'm actually going to share something that I did, because I think this is, Kelly, this is something that's really important. And I think this is actually a chat that I had. This is a chat. The thumbnail description, I'll cover that one in a second, Bill. Here's something actually that I've started doing. And this whole idea of having a community library, or being able to keep and archive all of the stuff that you're doing. I had a really, really long conversation. I think it was this morning, or actually late last night. And it was with ChatGPT. Pull this over so you can actually see it. So I was having this ChatGPT. There's actually that framework that I was talking about. Where's the one I would just want to break it up? I had one, I was kind of rethinking everything that's going on with AI and how you treat it as a business. I thought I had it here. And actually, it might be in another one. So these are a whole bunch of chats, obviously, that I've had with ChatGPT. Maybe it was in Claude. I'll open that one up here. No, I don't know where it is. So I'm just going to minimize this, and I'll actually show you in a different place. So I'm going to open up the trainingsites.io site just so that you can kind of see this for a second. And again, this is available to you. I've started putting my chats into the document library, into the community library. And I'm just going to do rethinking here. So I just did this one, and this was actually a long chat that I had with I can't remember again if it was ChatGPT or which one it was, but I was kind of thinking about, what's happening with this new model of no more courses and having things like agents and all of these kind of neat tools. I think we're going to have to completely rethink the business of actually teaching stuff and teaching our experience, and hopefully monetizing it if that's something that you're really interested in doing. So I do have this one here. If you just go to the docs page and do a search for rethinking, you'll see the long chat that I had here, and I'll probably do some videos and kind of, some structured learning around things like this. But it was just kind of interesting about being overwhelmed with all of the changes, and then how are we going to actually go and position this. And I also said, and again, this is something just to keep in the back of your mind. I had one of the people that I subscribe to on a regular basis and they have staff. It was a little bit of a bigger company, but what they were actually talking about is at the end of 2026, so that's like 400 days from now, they were talking about their business as being able to talk to your business, so that all of these agents and applications and custom GPTs and multiple agents working, we're going to be in a position that we're going to be able to talk to the business. So it's not necessarily like that whole business model of what are we going to do to our business. It's about structuring your business so it's something that you can talk to and work to. You can basically analyze and say, where are we at? Are sales increasing or decreasing? What are the things that we're doing that are causing it to increase? What are the different plans that we have coming? What needs to be done? Is there marketing campaigns that we should do? And then basically telling the business to go out and do it. So it's more about being able to communicate what it is that you want to do and what it is you want to share, and then structuring it to support something at the end of 2026, when you're going to be basically having a verbal conversation with your business, and all of this AI stuff is going to be connected to it. So it's almost like, I've heard a couple other people talk about it like this idea of Jarvis, right, from Iron Man. It's like being able to move your hands and be able to talk to your business and think about really cool things to do with it. So can it be overwhelming? Yeah, absolutely. Is it going to be overwhelming? I think it already is. So we're, taking an emotional day maybe isn't a isn't such a bad day. So, Kelly, just talking about that a little bit further, it is not a human, but being able to talk to it is something I think is going to happen. So we're really going to have to get our head around, how that comes into place and what we're going to do about it. Um, and I wish I had answers for it. I have no idea. Uh, but my belief is that this is coming. And there's going to be all of those things about, what is right or morally right, or all of those questions that are coming up. And it's interesting that, one of the things that was announced here when they did the agent builder is one of the little nodes that they can have here on the left-hand side is you can have or add guardrails. So these are things that you can start building into these agents that allow you to control kind of what happens or what doesn't happen or what paths these go down. It's just making sure that those rails are on the side of the highway that you've chosen, and you can determine how far they are out, how narrow they are, and be in a little bit of control of it. But there's going to be a whole bunch of issues here, and I wish I knew, I wish I knew what the actual answer was. It's going to be really tough. So, um, yeah. So, what other questions do we have? What else is going on? What are people thinking about? What's going on? Anyone want to see with agents? Is there something in particular that you want to focus on? Just let me know, and I'll do my best with that. Come on, give me some questions, even if you're lurking, just like a little piece, a topic to go on, and I'll do that. And I can't believe that there are no questions. I can't believe that everyone has this figured out. Um, I know I certainly do, and that's what's kind of exciting is you have a chance every day to kind of come up with everything new, or think about something new, or think about a different approach. So, what else can we actually look at? I think, maybe one of the things that we'll do here. Oh, there we go, Kelly. Um, the library storage, how does it work? Yeah, okay. Um, so here's the question. Kelly's asking about having library storage. And the way that I'm structuring these privately branded campuses, there's a couple things in play here. Um, and here's kind of how it works. So let me just pull up kind of the map here. And again, all of these materials are available to you in the campus. So um, one of the things that I'm really focusing on is this first phase here. We'll see if we can get that a bit bigger so that you can see it. Yeah, let's move it around. Sorry, make it a little bit in the right position. So the whole question here is that I think that there's so much information that is available to AI that our business in the education space is to collect and curate all of our expertise in one place, and plus the content that we generate with AI while we're doing stuff for ourselves and or for our clients, but be able to capture it in one place. Um, and I use WordPress to do that, and there's a couple different strategies on doing that, whether it be a software as a service that is an all-in-one service that does almost everything that you need, as opposed to doing something in WordPress where you have a content management system, which is WordPress, that has plugins that allow you to connect things to it. Or there's the hybrid where you have one piece and then you're kind of connecting things to it to round out a package. But the way that I look at it is I'm selfish and old school in terms of the content. I want to keep the content myself on my server. I want to be able to basically have all that content and add or subtract to the features and access to it on my own, as opposed to someone else who has control over the software as a service. Hey, hi Jay Don, thanks for coming on. And Bill, thank you very much. So yeah, so this whole idea of having a library, there's a whole bunch of different ways of doing this and a number of tools. Some people use a piece of software called Notion, for example, which is a really unstructured community library if you want, but it allows you to put templates or faces over top of it but it can collect all of that content that you're actually generating. So, that's a really cool place to have it. There's another software as a service, for example, that I recommend if you're creating a community and a community library is one called Circle, which is, a hosted one. And then I use one called WordPress. Now, the thing is with WordPress, and this is, positioning yourself moving forward, is if you're going to be doing something within WordPress, and again, I'm just adding the Fluent cart, which is a brand new tool on my WordPress site from Fluent that just came in, is that when you put your content somewhere, um, for the AI space, you're going to have to make that content available to AI. And the easiest way right now is something called MCP, which is called Model Context Protocol. And basically the example of what you might hear people talking about is treating MCP as like a USB port. And if you want to connect, for example, your WordPress website to your contact management system, for example, you would use MCP and AI to basically take that connector and connect it in so that they can take data back and forth between each other. So, that MCP part, or that access to your community library, is something that is really important. The way that I have WordPress set up right now, this is going to be native in WordPress in December when the new version of WordPress comes out. But at this particular point in time, there is a plugin on WordPress, and I'm just going to open it up and show you what the scoop is on that one. Just make sure I get this off here. How do I do that? I'm not quite sure. We'll go to this one instead where it's not off. Yeah, so the one that's in WordPress right now, I use a plugin called AI Engine, and I'll open this up so you can actually go and see it. And again, this is available from the WordPress plugin repository. They have a free version and a paid version. So I'm going to show you basically the interface to this in the background. And the way that this works, it's a plugin, and there's a couple things that you do with it. One of them is it allows you to hook up your WordPress website to create your own chatbot, but also use the chatbot, in this case, using, I think they have Claude available and also ChatGPT. So it allows you to basically create your own chatbot on your website, on your WordPress site. It is connected to ChatGPT or Claude. And you can give it some rules and interesting things like that. But the other part that you can do is, on this one is, let me just go to the knowledge base, is, I have to remember if I've got the right one here. Yeah. So what you can do with this one is you can also set it up so that anytime that you add content to your library, it keeps all of that content as a special database called a vector database. Now, the reason that this is important is that all of these AI tools, they don't store stuff in a database. They store it in a, again, correct me if I'm wrong, this is my understanding of it, they put the information or chunks of it in a vector database, which is just a fancy tool that allows the AI tool to pick out the chunks that it needs in order to give an answer back. You might hear terms like RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. And this tool here, these embeddings that are from AI Engine, are basically a database that when you use ChatGPT or you're doing Claude with the chat, what the chat does is it looks at your data in your community library first. And if it doesn't have anything, you can say, yes, go out to the internet. But the initial part is, first of all, on the page that you're on. And then secondly, based on all of the information that you have on your website. And this embedding gets created automatically on a regular basis. So this runs kind of every day. It's set for a bit of a schedule. And if you put some content into your WordPress site, it gets embedded as some valuable part of your community library. Irrespective if it's something that shows up for customers, it's just content that's there. So that's kind of where your community library starts to build up. And as you get going with this, it can be things like any of the course material or things that you've added to courses. It can be documents. It can be user-generated content that is in discussions. It can be stuff that anything in your content management system, your library, that is available now to AI on the site with a chatbot, for example. So that's kind of the first part. And I'll give you an example of what I'm doing here. And the reason that I'm doing it is I did that long chat here with ChatGPT where I was kind of, rethinking things about, what's going to happen next year with all of these agents tied together and what's going to kind of get in place here. And basically this whole page, and again, this is available. This is the chat that I had with ChatGPT, but I put it in my documents and now it's available as part of the training in my privately branded community. And because I have a chat bot in the bottom right-hand corner that's here, that chat bot from AI Engine has two things that are unique about it. One is that if you ask a question, it's understands what's on the page. That's the first part. And the second thing is that if you do ask a question, the answer may come from the page, but it's also supplemented what's in that, all of that embedded stuff in your database, which is available to it. So that's just something with an agent that is actually built onto the site. So that's kind of the first part. So you build your community, capture stuff. It's digital exhaust. It can be work that you do with ChatGPT. It can be stuff that you do for a customer while you're actually doing it with their permission, but store as much stuff as you can and find a unique way to do that that makes sense to you. I just happen to put it into documents because some of it I want public, some of it I don't want public. And I just copy and paste it in because it's a good chat. Maybe I may take something out, but anytime there's kind of valuable content that is appropriate for the community or the campus, I paste it in and it's now available. And it's something for me to reference, but it's also something for the AI to reference. And that's the second big part and why the agents are super important here. And let me just open one up here. I'll just play with one here. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah. So here's one. And again, I am learning how to use the agents a little bit better and building some out. This is one actually that I'm kind of building, and hopefully you can maybe see this a little bit. Just see if I can make it a little bit bigger here. But this is one is basically it's a way for beginners, you know, uh, people who are just starting out to be able to ask questions about a particular topic and then have an agent that's appropriate for the questions that people have. Now, one of the things that's really neat here is if I use this agent to classify, and hopefully on the right-hand side, I have to find the one that I want. And of course, I don't have one here. I'll just put one in as an example. One of the things I can do here is I can use this thing called MCP, Model Context Protocol. Remember, that's the connector. So if I have an agent here, and one of the things I want it to do is I want it to go check my community library. I can do the MCP part here. I'll just move it out so we can actually see it. And if you look on the right-hand side, when I highlight this node in the agent builder, you can see that invoke a model context protocol tool. So this means that my agent can go out all sorts of places, but I'm saying, hey, go to my community library because it's my information, my processes, my community, and I want the answers to come from my community, not from everywhere. So I'm going to click add. There's some here that are ones that were, all of them here. There's some that are from OpenAI and other developers. And there's also one here that says connect to my MCP server. So what you can do here is I can put in, and I wish I had it here. I forget the name of it, but you put the URL of my AI Engine MCP server. And now this agent, you can add this content or place where your community library, this is where it goes to start asking or answering questions or working on. So this is really cool. And I think this is the real power of having your own community library is making sure that it's available to all of these tools. And one of the tools that you want to do is just say, hey, here's my content. And in fact, you can publish your MCP server. So what this means is that you can have your whole library of content, but you can sell your MCP server access to someone else. You can white label it or make a separate one for people that only get separate access to particular content. But if you don't have your own content, you don't have your own processes, you don't have your own community, what are you actually going to be selling in terms of the information and the education that you have? I think you're in a pretty tough spot, and that's one of the big issues with all of this. Now let me just go, I'm going to move this up because I think all comments, just trying to make sure that I got the, don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that one. So let me just see if I don't want to click this one and get rid of it. So, but I did. So let's see what happens if I go back here. We'll go to this one. There we go. So thanks, Kelly. Take a break. I'm going to go down here a little bit further. Okay, John, thank you for coming on. Jadon, Bill's here. Greg's here. What companies have used agents and technology to deploy their training models? That's a good question, Greg. So Greg's basically saying, okay, what are we going to do here for all of this AI stuff and training people with it? You know what? If you have a good answer on that one, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. I know a lot of now I say a lot of companies. I know a number of companies that are replacing parts of business processes in this, specifically, you know, low-hanging fruit like customer service. And if you go do, let me just do. We'll go and open another page here, and let's go ask Perplexity. And whenever I don't know anything for all of these ones, what I normally do is I just go and obviously ask for a prompt to be made, right? If you haven't used Perplexity before, I use Perplexity more than Google search right now. Actually, I will show you Google search because this is something that I did a video on earlier. And if you haven't seen this, on the screen, again, this is Google Chrome. If you look in the right-hand side where my mouse is moving here, hopefully, let me see if I can get it a little bit bigger. No, I can't. So there's a little thing that says AI mode here. So Chrome has now got Gemini built directly into it. So if you click that, it actually brings up Gemini right within the browser. And you can start asking questions of Gemini as opposed to just going back to the search. So we just can do, we'll just do list some companies, small to mid-sized companies that are currently using AI for training. And again, so whenever I don't know these things, I'll put it in because I don't have the answers for all of it. The ones that I know that are really, really kind of low-hanging fruit right now are the things like customer service. In this one in Gemini, you'll notice there's a couple things that happen. This isn't like doing a Google search. It's here. Databricks, Learning Platform, Electrolux. These ones, a lot of them are a little bit bigger ones that are here. Tools to mid-size, so commercially available ones that are plugging in. And they've also got the references here on the right-hand side. So those are just some examples of some. What I've seen is that there are a lot of the bigger companies who are actually kind of white labeling their training and making it available to some of the larger companies. So I think it's happening where these agents are available, or at least it's being trained on their own content. And I think the small business or the edupreneur, we're getting close to being able to kind of whip this stuff up on our own. And I just want to talk about one other thing here, and I'll get back to the questions with this, is when you look at this part where I was just talking about the agent builder, this came out last week. And we have to actually figure out, you know, which part connects to which part and understand all of that stuff. And if you're not a programmer or someone that really understands all that, it is incredibly difficult to do and it takes some time. However, having said that, if you look at the way all of these AI interfaces, these agent builders and automation ones build, for example, we did one on Opal from Google. You basically put a text prompt in and it is going to create these agents for us. And I would suspect in the next, 60 to 90 days, you're going to see that happening. So yeah, we're going to be able to do things like the bigger companies and just say, hey, I want to build an agent that creates courses from my community library based on the questions that someone is asking. So, just start thinking about that as opposed to, man, I really want to create a course and sell a course. I'm hesitant. I get in trouble all the time talking about courses or the end of courses. I believe that the traditional approach to courses and delivering content is completely broken, and it's not coming back, and it's even going to get worse about it. The library and your ability to teach live and be with people live, having these learning experiences, guiding and mentoring, those are words that I use all the time because I think that's where the real value will be if you're in this education space. So um, my 2 cents there as to what's happening. Um, that's where another one, and I just will mention that for a second, is because where you apply these agents or build them, they may not be necessary. Like your business might not be ready for it. It's not something that you need to pay attention to. It's not worth your time or energy, or it's not going to get any ROI on it. It's not something that's going to be of value in 3 months or 6 months. So there's really, you got to kind of think it through and say, and we'll do this in the video after. I'll publish this right after. You should have a little bit of a checklist that you're going through this. So yeah, if you're just here new, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what's going on. Bill, thank you very much. What else we got here? Just want to go banks of multiple choice questions from LR. Yeah, we could talk about that one. Yeah, okay, let me I just want to go and talk about Bill, just look at Bill's for a second. So Bill says, it's not AI that is going to take your job, it's the employee that can use AI who's going to take your job. So as a trainer, I'm trying to get up to speed myself. And again, this is the part that is the huge money-making opportunity. Well, it's not I think it's one that you can start charging more for what you're worth. And I'm talking about inserting ourselves into the application of applying all of these AI tools. Because I think that if someone is wanting to learn something, if someone is thinking about, you know, I want to learn, and again, let me just show you what I did yesterday. So where this is actually coming. This is a video that I think I did yesterday. What was it? Where's that? Learn Your Way with Google. So for example, so this is one I did a video on. It's called Learn Your Way with Google. So you have to imagine here, you have someone who's going to buy your course, someone who is a student in your class, and they have access to learnyourway.withgoogle.com. And they're trying to figure out, hey, I want to learn something. So this particular one, there's a wait list here where you upload your PDF. If they have a document or they go and find a document, they can basically have the book rewritten for them to answer the questions that they want based on the book. So this is something that anyone can do, your student, your course purchaser, yourself. So, learn your way, they'll structure it all, put it together about whatever piece they have. So whether it's chemistry, for example, how to learn about carbon, um, and it's about structuring, how does the person learn? Are they beginner, intermediate, that kind of thing. So that's just one of the examples of the experiments. The one that I wanted to look at, I'll just see if I can find it because it was one I did yesterday. Teachable machine, waypoints, there's a whole bunch of ones here. Where's the darn one? Let me just pull it up. I think it might be here. If you haven't gone to experiments, well, actually there, labs.google/experiments. There's a whole bunch of really interesting ones here. Learn Your Way, that's the one that we were just talking about, personalizing it. The one that I did the video on, I just got to find the link on it because I've done so many of these ones now. Yeah, so here's one. This is the one that was cool. It was one I did yesterday called Sparkify. So here's one where you're thinking, okay, should I create a course or do I just go and basically ask a question, give some instructions on how I want it to be answered and displayed. And it basically goes, and in this case, for example, they have some examples for chemistry. Now they've set it up with bears, but you get, if you want to show a scientist or whatever answering it, it's there. Or even stuff, for example, like, where does it come from? I did this in the example. Where does the 8-hour workday come from? Where does the lead page work? How do lead pages work? How's the best way to create a quiz? And you basically ask it, and it's going to go and create a video explainer
Imagine
of
life
how
before
this
the 8-hour
happened
clock.
for you.
Labor stretched from dawn's first light.
Everything scripted. This is using VO3. This is using Gemini. So we're in a position now where we've got this AI building out the content. So where do we all fit in this, right? Where do we fit all in this? So here again, my gist on this. This is what I'm betting on. I'm hoping that that I'm right on this. Even if I'm not, because I have my community library and I have my campus and the community of people that are there, I can still reposition. But where I think this is all fitting in is the place to monetize is, I'll just pull this up. And again, this is available to you. This is part of the campus, build your own private campus. So I look at it as that community library is the free part. And there's some instructions there, but this is the part where you're going to build your classroom, which is the premium zone. And what this is, it is taking the processes, I call them frameworks, that from your experience and or your testing that can be applied to a body of knowledge in order to get the transformation, whatever that happens to be. So in simple terms, what you're doing is you're saying, here is the AI prompt, here is the AI agent, here is the AI application that you need to apply in order to do this part of the process or this step. So I'm giving all of the prompts and all of the things to the people to apply to their own unique situation. But what happens is there's never a right answer, and people will always need some extra help or guidance. Or they might get overwhelmed because there's a bigger step or a bigger transformation, and they're going to want to talk to someone. And if they're going to want to talk to someone, they have a couple choices. One is that they can go out and do all their searches on YouTube and all that wild stuff. They can go and use Perplexity. They can go in tools. They can build their own tool, or they can be part of a community that is working on the same idea to ask questions and get live help on a regular basis. And that live help is the coaches, is the teachers, is the people with the domain knowledge that are building out their frameworks that they can actually teach with people. And what I'm trying to do now is really transition. And I don't want to use the word cohorts because I don't think a cohort is necessarily the right approach, because a cohort to me implies a start and a stop. And it also implies that it has to be structured in a particular order. And I think what's happening is a lot of people are in different situations. So they may not need that order, or they may not need all of the answers or to questions they may already have answered. So I think it's chunking this and making that framework available for people to go through, but also being available on live working sessions, on live explanations and live use of how stuff gets applied to help people doing it. And if you have the choice between taking the time to build your own agents, to build your own apps, to going and spend money on purchasing one and still having questions, I think people are willing to pay to be part of a community where they have live people there to help them. And again, that might just be my age, wanting, just getting frustrated on the phone or only talking to an agent. They're all good, but they're still only trained on static content for the most part. And that static content may be yours or other people's, and it may not explain the process that has to happen for each unique individual. So that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. I'm going to charge a lot more for my time than I would have for creating a static course that anyone can create now with AI. So I think it's a good opportunity to charge more for your time and get really involved with people, which is what most people who teach like doing. and treat it as a business model that you can actually have some legs with that. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Uh, if you're trying to get yourself up to speed, three things: start building your community and your community content, your library. Then identify from your library what the frameworks or processes are and the AI, either applications or prompts or the use of AI to work on that content. Make yourself available in some kind of classroom setting, hopefully in your own campus. And then after that, you're going to want to treat it as a business and actually grow your community and get rid of all of the tasks that you don't like doing so that you have more time teaching people and using AI. So there's kind of three things there, Bill. That's the way I look at it. Um, and again, you don't have to do all of it. If you're going to start, I recommend getting started with your own community and your community library and build, like the way that I do it personally is I am all in on YouTube. I don't do any other marketing other than YouTube. And the reason I do that is because of the transcripts. And it's the second most popular search engine. But getting the transcripts, getting that content into your library, it's the fastest way to do it is on YouTube. So content, your own about stuff that is all relevant to what you're trying to teach people going through that. Yeah, so more questions. Let me know what we got there. Let me just scroll through some of them here. Um, yeah, so John, thank you for coming on. How about banks of multiple choice questions? Actually, LR, if you can put a little bit more on that. I don't know exactly what you mean, but about banks of multiple choice questions, I'm sure you could create them. You could probably build an app for that, which would be kind of cool so that you could, basically say to someone, what do you want to have a multiple choice on this topic? And it creates banks of them that you can use. I don't know if there's some available on some of the other tools, but yeah, you could probably do that. Um, Correct on vectors. Thank you very much, Jay Don. I do have, there's one called Pinecone, which is the vector database. They have a free level, and AI Engine basically takes all the content, chunks it up, and puts it into Pinecone. And the cool thing, of course, is that my Pinecone database with my content, I can give access to anyone I want to my database. So that is your content. That is your community content. And you have the opportunity to monetize that if you want to. Yeah, so Don saying MCP to WordPress assigns free or sale correct. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. There we go. Excellent agent. Yeah, actually, Jadon, put that one in the community. If you have in tools and services, that would be great. There's all sorts of different names that come up. And if you do have some that are there, please go to, I'm just going to open up the community here. And again, this is free for everyone to join. This is kind of the sales pitch part again. We'll do on this side here. But join the community, and I do have a study hall here called Tools and Resources. If you run into some tools that work really well or that you've had experience with, please put them in the community, share what's going on, how they work, so other people can use them. And there's tons of these tools that people don't even know about. And some of the people who are kind of programmer types, there's some really cool things that you have no idea are actually going on in the background. I did find one here. Let me just see if I can, let me see if I can find the one. I had one here. Yeah, so here's one here. I'm going to just go to a page here. We'll go to, I'm just trying to think of a good example of something to do here. So we'll just go to YouTube as an example. Let me got one here. So we'll just go
If
on.
you feel behind with
There's
AI,
someone I
or if
follow.
you're just
Skill Leap has some really good courses. But there's one little plugin that I have here, which is Instant Data Scraper. And I forget the name of this one, but here's just a simple example of stuff that is happening. Is that you can go, some of these tools, this has the links to all of the YouTube videos that are on this particular page. So if you have this, you can export it to a CSV or a spreadsheet, copy it all. You can scroll pages. This is just one of these tools that is available to everyone if you know about it. Now, the question is, what can you do with these? There's tons of things you can do with them. One of the things that I have, again, just an app that I built, I'll just show it briefly, is if I take one of those URLs, just one, and I have my tutorial creator, and all I have to do is put a YouTube video in or a list of YouTube videos. And what this application does is it creates a post in my tutorials based on a prompt here, and whichever one I select. It adds it to my social media list, the post for me. It also adds me to my CRM and has some messages that go out. 3 emails automatically get created to let people know that it's there. So if you have tools and stuff that you're sitting on or that you found out about, please put it in there. I would love to see it, and I would love it if you can actually go and share some of the tools that you actually have. So yeah, that's, tools like that, if you've got one, that would be actually really, really cool. So that one's called JDawn. It's, yeah, excellent agent. Rocket Red Countdown. Again, that would be cool. Have to see that one. Haven't seen that one. Greg Hutchins. So Greg is asking about the revisioning of the textbooks. I'll go to this link again and I'll put it here a little bit later. But if you go to, let me just go on here. Yeah, so if you go to labs.google/experiments, if you go there now, what you're going to do is you're going to see this page. And what these are is this is all of the cool stuff that Google is playing around with. And they're basically letting everyone use it to to test it and get feedback on it. And you're going to notice some of the things that are here still are ones that everyone is talking about. So for example, this one here called Opal, I did a video on this one. Opal allows you to basically do a text prompt and it creates mini apps, or maybe even call them mini agents. That's one, it's available to play with. You can try it. There's another one here called Learn Your Way, which is the one that I was thinking about. So what this does is you can upload a PDF and it will basically recreate it based on your skill level, and it's going to ask you some questions about what it is you want to learn from the document. Are you starting out, or do you have a certain level of experience? So you can go and try that now. Depending on where you are, some of these are available right away. Some of them are you have to get on a wait list. Here's one. The other one, I did this one on portraits earlier. And if you're a teacher or a coach, this whole idea of portraits is one that you should kind of pay attention to. This one here, let me just go and see what happens on this one. See if it's actually open right now. I'm not 100% sure. I did this one a while ago. Here we'll go agree. So here's one here. This is the way that this one works, is these are avatars, and the avatars get created based on the knowledge base from the expert. So this is an avatar for Kim Scott, who's an author about a particular topic. Here's one for Matt Dix, who's a story selling coach. So these avatars basically get created, but it's based on your library of content, your book. And any question that you ask is based on your level of expertise. So you can imagine if you have your own avatar on your website, or have it as part of what was a course, it has all your community library, and you have someone who goes to talk to your avatar. And it's got all of this expertise about one particular topic that you're the expert in. You have that available to you. Does someone have to take a course? Do they have a conversation with an avatar who is kind of looks like you, sounds like you? Very, very cool stuff. And that's the kind of thing that's happening. So Portraits has been out, I think maybe 6 months, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's something for next year. Where's the other one that's here that we played with? Sparkify was the one that I just did. Language lessons, if you're teaching a second lesson. Where's the other one that was kind of, yeah, Notebook LM. So, there's Notebook LM, which everyone's familiar with now. It started off as an experiment. So I try and pay attention. There's Learnabout, one of the ones who were just kind of doing that conversational AI. Is this the one actually? Yeah, this is the one where you can actually upload the document as well. So yeah, some really interesting stuff there that's going to happen. Um, Revisioning books. So Debbie Brady's asking, I think we need to find a way to fine tune our training. Where's this? Fine tune our training style based on the student. Our value add is personalization. Yeah, and I think you're right. I don't quite know how to do that yet, to have it so that it is as personalized as maybe it should be. The part that is really, really flippy is if you get into things like HeyGen and Synesthesia and 11 Labs, we're very, very close now to having someone who looks like us and sounds like us being available to be an avatar that has access to our content. What isn't necessarily there is the intonation, the cadence, the tempo, the emotional content. Having said that, one of the ones that was in the labs here, and I can't remember which one it was, um, one of those ones actually did have Gemini has the ability to identify the level or emotional level or the inference of the emotional content of the discussion that's being had on both sides of the chat. So that's something that might actually happen, and being able to do that. And it is personalized. If you have an agent that's working on your content, it's a one-on-one conversation. It's you as the student, as or the course purchaser, you're basically talking to a personalized person, a digital you, a you bot that is you based on your training that hopefully is going to sound like you and in some instances actually look like you. So the question becomes, does someone actually need some help implementing or applying what it is that they're discussing? And that's the kind of value add I think that is happening there. And fine tuning, yeah, fine tuning is if you and actually the let me just see if I have that here. See if I can pull this up. Um, I'm just going to my site for a second here, and one of the things is they do an AI engine. Let me just pull this one up again. Meow apps. I don't know why I called it Meow apps. That's a developer that has it here, but they do have. Let me just pull this one up. Discussions. Knowledge base, and I think one of the options is, no, it's not here. I don't remember. There is a way to fine tune your content and build your own knowledge base and upload PDFs and things like that, and we can actually fine tune it and edit it. But if you're not sure what that is, and I'm not 100% sure on that, just do a search in ChatGPT and say explain fine tuning for me. That's on the content side, and then maybe start to ask and say how does it actually fit in. So Jadon has another question. There we go. What videos extension is used for Mac? The video learning wouldn't work for me when I tried it. I thought maybe that was the issue. I'm not sure which one you're asking. Are you talking about the one that was in Google? Um, I know some of them are invite only, so you got to put your thing in and hopefully get an invite on that one. And what video is extension used for Mac? Not quite sure. Uh, I will show you where this came from though. Um, Let me just pull this one up because this one is kind of neat. And if you don't know about it, it is just a cool tool as well. So if I go to docs.google and you look at all the documents and stuff that you've been doing. So here's I have a Flint community standard operating procedures. I have a space framework, campus framework. These are some of the documents that I've basically been working on. But if I go to docs.google.com, and if you just put at the end of it, videos, there's Google Vids as well. So one of the things that you can do is you can take your document and actually create videos. And this will actually create the video, the actual images, the video that you can edit after, and the narration of your document. So, the video extensions, I'm not quite sure what's under the hood. I suspect it's Gemini and VO3 that is putting this all together. And I don't know what they've made available or not made available to it. So going to be kind of neat to do stuff. If you get a chance, play around with this. All you need to do is go to docs.google.com/videos and you upload a document and it creates a video for you. This is one that I did in the summer, which was pickleball for beginners. And basically it created the document. So you can also do transform images to videos. So, there's just all sorts of really neat stuff happening. I didn't create this video, it was done for me. So, you have a document, you've done some research, you want to have an explainer video, create a video. If you want to have this document and you want to go to Notebook LM, upload it as a document, research document, just create an explainer video, adding a whole modality, a different way to kind of learn things, which is kind of neat. So yeah, so Debbie, which one is, if sorry, Jadon S, if there is a specific one, I'm not sure I got that entire question there. Um, so we got Big Mick. Okay, can you use a classic editor on Fluent plugins? So we'll put this one in and I'll talk about this one. Can you use the classic editor on Fluent plugins? How customizable is the Fluent community? Okay, so this is a really good question. And this right now, right now, this is the only issue that I have with Fluent community. Um, when when I'm of I like to keep everything in house. So when I create my campus, and the way that I recommend doing it at this point is that I keep it on WordPress and I try and keep everything inside of my WordPress site. So in my case, I use a suite of tools from Fluent, and I'll put all the links to these below, and hopefully I'll just be able to pick up here. See if I can get one of my, these are all the videos that I've done. Campus Blueprint, I'm just looking for the actual one that I did. Course setup checklist. Don't know where that one is. Crap. Not quite sure where that one is. That's unfortunate. Let me see if this one is here. No, that's the other one. Okay, so having said that, this is what I've got, and I'll show the actual site so that you can see it. So I have Fluent CRM, which is my contact management software and my email marketing automation software. Think of this as using ActiveCampaign or any of those other CRMs where you keep track of who your contacts are, what happens to them, any fields, email addresses, their names, everything like that. So I use a tool called Fluent CRM. And in my case, let me just go and we'll open that one up. Hopefully I'll be able to have it here. Let me do Fluent CRM. I'm just thinking of the best way to do it. So here's an example. Right now in the community, I have 5,000 and some members that are here. 5,567 members. So where are those email addresses and where are these names? Where are they kept? I keep them in Fluent CRM. And I'll put my affiliate links to these, of course, after. But Fluent CRM manages all of that information, and it also does doing email campaigns, and it's also doing things like, let me just pull this one up here, and I'll pull it up so you can actually see it. So we'll put this one up here. Just want to make sure we're in a good space of what we want to do here. Some emails that are sent, and I'll just do, and again, I probably shouldn't show the contacts, but what it is they do have on the left-hand side, you can see that they have recurring campaigns, email sequences. See if I'll get a little bit of a bigger thing here. We've got automation, so if this happens, that happens. So all of my contact management stuff is in Fluent CRM. So that's the first part. The second part is that I also have a way to book appointments. And I have this thing called Fluent Bookings. And what this means is that instead of using Calendly, if I know I'm going to have a place for people to book a time slot with me, they can go to trainingsites.io/talk, and someone can book a time with me. And when they book a time with me, I can have free time slots or paid ones. But if someone books a time with me, what Fluent Bookings does is a couple things. One, it handles all the Zoom links and the messages back and forth, email reminders, that stuff. but it also takes all the information from someone that booked with me and puts it into the CRM. So I have one for doing that. I have another one for projects, which is project management software. You may have heard ones like Trello, or there's a Teamwork is one. There's a whole bunch of different ones that are standalone applications for projects. I have one that does the help desk. So anytime someone sends an email to support at trainingsites.io, it goes into the help desk. Now, the thing is that all of that stuff is in the CRM. So if I go look at your record, I get to see all of the bookings, all of the support tickets. Now I see all the revenue because Fluent CRM came out officially Fluent Cart came out this week. And then the other part is that Fluent Community is the public facing part of all of this. So this Fluent Community has two kind of key parts to it. The first one is it has these groups. So think of these as like your Facebook groups. These are ones, for example, where we can, if we just want to go, we'll do the general discussion. These are the ones, and if you put something in, you have, it's a form of the Gutenberg editor. You can cut and paste content in. You can do images and all sorts of things that get in. So this is not the classic editor, but it is a form or a watered down version of the WordPress Gutenberg editor. So you can do that for any of the groups that you create. That's the first part. The second part is that you do have courses, and the courses have, if I open one up and let's do an edit, in this particular case, it is the Gutenberg editor that is there as well. And it's just a similar, it's not the classic one, but it's the Gutenberg one. And the reason that I'm okay with it right now is if I want to, and again, if you haven't taken this course, you can see it's just got kind of the same things that you want to put in: embedded HTML, images, tables, text. You can do that, but you can also take it from a Word doc or Google Doc and cut and paste it in. So there is no classic editor at this particular point. In the CRM, when you send an email, yeah, it's the regular WordPress editor that is available to you. The only part that I have a problem with currently with Fluent Community is two things. One of them is that the only thing that it's limited to right now is courses and groups. There isn't a place for standalone documents or kind of like traditional blog posts within Fluent Community. It's a WordPress site. I can still have blog. In fact, I do have a blog with old posts on it. I don't show it to anyone, but it's there as a post. I do have the Better Docs, which is that document library that I was talking about. That one is available, but it's a WordPress plugin. I would like to see that those kind of things are built directly within Fluent Community. They're not quite there yet. Will they be? Yes, they will be there. And again, this is on WordPress. So the other thing that's cool that's happening is not all of the community is available via MCP at this point. And that is going to change on December because they have notified all of the users that whatever happens with WordPress with MCP, they're going to support. So when WordPress gets that MCP server part, that means it's a free-for-all directly within any of the Fluent kinds of pieces. So hopefully that kind of helped a little bit as to which ones there. It's not overly customizable in terms of the layouts and things, but when you get into the menu choices, there's stuff to do that you can change. You can customize the look and feel in terms of the colors and backgrounds, but it's not like having a website that you get a fancy design or something done along those lines. And in fact, one of the things that I've often thought about is not even bothering with the theme and just having the community as the website. It's like, get people into the community, get their email address, get them into your CRM, get them engaged in sharing what it is they're doing. If they're not interested, they won't be, but if they are, they're going to stay and provide value. Make yourself available, make your content, organize, curate that stuff, and hopefully get people involved as much as possible. Now, One of the other questions here, and this is a big Mick. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly. And I'm going to show you something about how powerful these MCP things are. Because having said that there isn't an MCP server for Fluent Community right now, or some of these pieces, I actually asked Claude, I said, can you write me, I just said to Claude, I said, here from the Fluent site for Fluent CRM, here is the development docs, which they're public. I said, can you write me an MCP so I can connect to my Fluent CRM? And of course it did. So this is something that I put together, and I'll just show it to you. And how this actually works is, and let me do this one here. So here's one, for example, and I'll do this again. I'm just talking to Claude. So I've got my Fluent CRM, I connected it with MCP to Claude. So I'm in Claude right now. So just start to think about this. I'm not logged into the site. I'm interfacing with AI. In this case, it's with text, right? Maybe it's going to be voice. Maybe it's an agent doing it on its own. Maybe it's that application that I showed you. Maybe it's a student doing it if you want to give them access to it. But I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to say, do you have access to the CRM? Hopefully I used the right word. Let me check if I can have access to the Fluent CRM data through your WordPress site. So two different ways. So let me do the, oh, I asked the right one. I asked the question wrong, pardon me. There we go. Okay, so here's what Claude can do on my website. I can create single email campaigns like we just did, list all the campaigns, view the campaign stats and performance, create email sequences, manage all of the subscribers, create and list templates. So here we are, we've got an AI interface, and I can just say, what are the last results on, or analyze the last emails that were done, which one's got the best results, or create a series of emails that I want to announce for this. And it's going to basically go and add it to the CRM. So having everything in one place, I think is a lot of value to it. And that's why I'm sticking with kind of the Fluent stuff. I just wrote one for Fluent support so that when a support ticket comes in, it's going to be answered here, or I can manage it here directly. Same with projects. Same with Fluent Community. As soon as they make that one piece available, I can go and sit here and say, add posts, create a new group, discuss what's in the space, take the top comments from something. So this is like very, very, very wild stuff, and it's really hard to wrap your head around. The point is that I think if you have your community and start building your community and your library, all of the AI stuff that is coming around it, that's all going to change. But if we don't have our own community of people and our own community of content, we're going to be in a really hard place trying to make ourselves different than anyone else who can just create their own content on the fly. So that's kind of my thinking on it. Fluent plugins, I'm all in on it. Is the only way? No, all sorts of different ways of doing it. And in fact, I have a framework called Campus, which helps you pick that out. So that's, a tough choice, different strokes for different people. And it depends on where your business is, what you're trying to do with the business. So what else we got here? So Debbie's asking, a virtual Debbie might be a stopgap, but ultimately I think that person to person in some form um, is what people want. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, Debbie. And when I first, I'm just going to kind of put this in perspective. When I first started doing the digital marketing space, when I first started, doing videos, I was doing videos with a thing called a Mimeo capture board, and it was on Real Player. If you're old enough, you'll remember this. But what it was a whiteboard, and you had this big blue device that was suction cupped onto the whiteboard. and you had markers, like erasable markers in a sleeve with different colors. And what I would do is I'd put a mic on myself and I would write on the whiteboard and explain what I'm doing writing on the whiteboard. So just the same, for example, as the, my video pencil that's here. Just open this one up so you see what the video pencil is. Um, so for example, it was the same idea here, right? I would just go and write on here and basically explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So when we first started that, that was kind of cool. But at the time, when you webinars weren't a thing, there weren't webinars. So you would have these huge speaking gigs or conferences where all sorts of people in the topic industry, you would go and it would be a weekend conference. And these were live working sessions with groups, they would be presentations, but these were like training sessions where you were actually live one on one with people or in small groups. And I think that whole piece is going to make a comeback now because people are kind of unplugging and they're wanting to connect with people not only in the community, but also to get to really know people. People are missing out on that. And I think there's going to be a lot more training slash educating that is in that one-to-one space. I think Zoom, as opposed to, just doing a live stream like this, like we're doing a live stream, right? So I'm on YouTube, I'm recording this, but the questions that I answer are ones that someone had just chatted or added to the chat, right? But other than that, there's no other way to us to have a conversation. So anytime that we get into, for example, the VIP members of the campus, any of the calls that we do are live Zoom calls. So these are ones where it's not a presentation. It's like, hey, did you do this? Or what happened? Show me what happened. It's you sharing your screen. It's you telling what happened. You're explaining your issue, your problem, and having that connection with people on a real basis where they can kind of share, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, not explain it in text or not trying to give enough context to an AI tool. But it's like, no, 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 this, did you do this? Or can you show me someone else that did it? Or have you tried that before? These are things that you can't get yet from any of these avatars that we're kind of talking about. So um, this will be kind of neat what happens. I think Zoom and also um, Google Meet. I'm not. A couple things happen with Google Meet, and I wouldn't be surprised if Google Meet becomes a little more interesting moving forward. And the reason I'm saying that is two things. One is I absolutely hate the interface to Zoom because I have multiple monitors and multiple screens in front of me. What often happens is I don't know which screen I'm sharing, even though it has that little ribbon around it. And even if I do, there's that little thing that the little Zoom little bar, info bar, it gets lost sometimes. It's a pain in the butt. Google Meet, if you haven't used it before, doesn't have that. So it makes it a lot easier to, I think, to manage your screens and what you're actually doing. And I think the interface is just a lot cleaner. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I don't know if you saw it, but Google announced, I think it was called Google Glass. And it's not out yet and it's really expensive. I think it's experimental. But what that one is it is a, Jarvis like glass screen that when you're having meetings with people, you look at the glass and you see the person that you're having the meeting with. And again, I think this is built on Meet, and I would love to see, 12 months, 18 months from now, when we're having these meetings, it's not a Zoom call, it's a Google Glass call, where we're actually seeing a 3D hologram of the people or the person that we're talking to. So that's going to be kind of neat to see what happens there. But yeah, I'm going to put a lot of effort in on Zoom calls, live working sessions, or live sprints to get a piece of the process done, and just look and say, okay, let's get Fluent Community installed on your campus. What are the things we need to do? Start doing it. Let's actually do it. Are you running into a problem? Do you have questions about it? Let's work on it live and actually go through it and not be left to, what typically might have been called e-learning or something like that. Recon Costa Rica. Hey, thanks for coming on. I don't think you've been on before. Thank you very much for coming on. So, Recon asks, he says, hi, James, if we build the platform, will they come? How long do you think truly takes after we place blueprints, frameworks, and assets in a community platform for actual pupils to show and pay for it? This is a really, really interesting question. And I can tell you how I've been approaching it successfully in the people that have been in this space for a while are transitioning to. But here's kind of the process that I go through. So, and this is again, this is my just this is my belief on it. It isn't the right and only answer. I originally started with doing lead pages, doing stuff like ClickFunnels and all of those accounts and stuff. I had individual sales pages. I had my websites. I had individual domains with sales pages on them, and they were big, long form sales pages with tons of text and all of those, different strategies and sales pages. I had, spending money on ads to get people to the lead pages and then getting them on some automation, and basically trying to do all of these things to get people to lead pages. The way that I look at it now is I am trying to get everyone to register to be a free member of the community. Now, there's a couple reasons for that, and it has to do with what you're talking about. When people come and become part of your community, there's a couple things that happen. The first one is that they will either raise their hand and say, "Yeah, I'm willing to give you my email address to get into the community." That's kind of the minimum, right? And if they're not going to do that, I don't necessarily think that they're going to be a good fit for my community, right? So everything that I do is about getting people to join free into the community. That's kind of the first thing, and that's the only marketing that I actually do, and I do it with YouTube. So I only do YouTube videos, and if you aren't comfortable doing YouTube videos, um, I suggest that you start practicing and playing around with it. And these are the reasons that I think it's really important. And I'll bring these ones up and we can kind of talk about them. And this is the kind of stuff that that I go over let me just make sure, I'm going to make sure I'm getting the right map here so that we can see it. Yeah. So here's the part that's important. And I'm going to open this up so that you can actually see it. So when you start building this community and your community library, there's a couple things that happen is you're going to be doing stuff, right? You're creating content, whether it be for yourself, trying to, add ebooks or do research. You might be doing stuff for customers, right? You might be building tools for customers. What I'm saying is that you start capturing all of that digital exhaust. And that digital exhaust is all that stuff you do on a regular basis. The other thing that you do is you create a YouTube channel and you start throwing as much crap up against the wall as you possibly can when you're starting about a particular topic. And if you don't know your topic or you don't know what to talk about, there's a thing, and I'll show it to you now that's here. Actually, I won't show, we'll do a separate video on it again. It's called a topical authority map, and it's just a simple set of prompts that allows you to create 300, 600 ideas for YouTube videos that you can talk about. But all I'm saying is that you want to, as fast as you get going on this, you want to create a YouTube channel and start putting content up on it. Now, there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. The first one is that you are going to get better at organizing your thoughts and communicating what it is that you're thinking about. And this is easy to identify because you're going to have feedback from people. You're going to have people starting to get involved. If you start publishing enough, if you think that you have to do one video a week, I try and do 1 to 2 videos a day. And I do them by making sure that they are live edit videos and not edited videos, not post edit videos. And again, there's exceptions to this, right? I'm not going to say that, if you're doing high-end business to business stuff, you can just do some, ad hoc live stream or live edit one. And it's obviously in the market that you're in, you've got to kind of massage this a little bit. But I think that being authentic and getting good at doing a couple things like doing these live edits and being able to switch between some different pieces, if you can get comfortable with that to create content that is based on answering the questions that you know the people have, you're going to get better at actually figuring stuff out. Now, the cool part is that when you do that, you're going to be able to figure out what is of value to the people that are watching the videos. And you're going to also be able to say, I've got these transcripts from 100 videos. What can I identify from them? I actually have a prompt that you can use that will create frameworks from videos or transcripts. You have that and you just say, hey, create a thing that explains, or a framework that I can teach, or a prompt template that I can give to my community that allows people to apply this or do something or transform that. So if you've got the YouTube and your community library put together and you focus on getting people in there, or at least to watch the videos on YouTube, you build up some authority around it, you get clear on what it is that you're actually offering, people can understand, know, like, and trust you, or they can go, I'm super confused. I think the guy or is full of it. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Either or is fine. But if they're really interested and they go, hey, this is helping the overwhelm because I'm seeing the same video style and the same topics being answered, I want to go and find out a little bit more. So the question you had was kind of like, if we build a platform, will they come, and how long do you think it truly takes? Build the community, build your WordPress site, or open up a Circle account. For example, you can do that in an hour, get it set up, and then start focusing on how can I use YouTube. Again, if you're a coach or a speaker or someone who's a teacher, I would hope that you're comfortable in front of the camera. And if you're not, I tell people, go and start doing live streams and do them unpublished. They don't have to be published. Do them and just watch them and go, hey, this is good, or I didn't explain that well. Spend a weekend, go do 10, 20 videos. Look at a script if you have to. Have AI to create a script for you. Just start playing around and see what works and see what doesn't. And then, you'll have some that you'll just go, hey, wait a second, maybe I should publish that. And start doing them as fast as you can about all of the things that came up in that topical authority map. And again, it doesn't have to be you coming up with it. It can be you looking at what else is happening in your industry and commenting on it. You can have guests come in, but all of that content is yours. All of the transcripts are yours. And you're going to find out pretty quickly, is this something that's viable or is it not viable? Now, the question you had from Recon Costa Rica is, how long do you think it truly takes after we place the blueprints, frameworks, or assets in a community? That's the monetization part. And you can start offering that right away if you already have that done. But if you don't have a community, you're going to have to go and try and figure out, how am I going to get people either to do my lead page? Am I going to do something about email marketing automations? Am I going to have to start to pay for ads and those other pieces? So I don't have a good answer for you. I know that for myself personally, when I kind of found my groove here, I think it's been maybe 12 to maybe 14 months kind of thing. I have no idea what it is for you. I'm not saying it will happen there, but I got to the point where I have a good explanation of what I'm doing. I understand the questions people have, and I can kick these things out pretty quickly. And now, I do it as lazily as I can. That's just me. You've got to decide. But if someone says to me, I have a question about that, I can kick out a video, answers the question, but I also have the transcript. And I try and keep it all in one place, or at least make it available to AI so that it can be leveraged after. Um, in monetizing stuff, whenever you're stuck monetizing stuff, I look at this one here. When I'm monetizing or thinking about monetizing things, it's about that classroom. And you can have one person in a class, you can have 10 people in a class, but just try and figure out, when am I going to have my Zoom calls? What am I going to be teaching as part of it for these people? And just start saying, hey, it's available. If you want access to me, pay money. And this one here, and again, this I'll just do this as an example. I don't know. I wish I could pull up the map on this one. I just dropped my Apple Pencil. Here, let me just do this one here. We'll pull this one up. It's going to pull this up again on the pencil. So here's kind of the way that I look at it. And this might work for you, not sure, but I look at it so that we have a group of people. There's the DIY people, done with you, and done for you. And these ones, it's free. So these are the people that are going to go to your community and they're going to go, wow, that's a really cool idea. Or, hey, I can use that prompt. They're going to go and they're going to try and fit all the pieces together. And that's fine because you've got a curated resource, right? That they can go and do. But at some point, there's going to be a group of them that are just going to say, ooh, I'm stuck on this, or maybe I need a little bit of help, or I don't know how this content that's in the community, I don't know how it applies to me specifically. These people are going to pay you some money. And how you monetize that might be through selling your own agents, or it might be doing these live classes. There's all sorts of different ways of doing it. And you know, how long that happens or how long it takes, you can start offering that right away, but it's only available to community members. You may do it and have it so that it's available, you know, you're a community member, you may get 7 days free or 2 free classes. But start doing it and focus on building the community and then having the automated systems, which is all of this piece underneath, using Fluent CRM to do things like onboarding, to be able to do things like having touches and all of these kind of processes to track people through what they're doing on the site. Are they engaged? Are they not engaged? Doing joint ventures, promoting other people's tools and assets, you know, inviting other people in, doing live events. All of these things are parts that you can automate after. So the thing I'm just trying to get across here is that get started, build your community, start building your community library, and focus on getting people to sign up to be a free community member. And again, I just, you know, if you are doing something where you know that it is very specific and very expensive, you're going to have to adjust this. I'm not saying that you have to have a free level. Some people may have an introductory level that is paid or do free trials. There's all sorts of variations on it. The only reason that I have a free level is because I think the content is basically free now in the AI space because of AI. But the second thing is the only reason I have a free community is to build my email list. That's it. It is the lead page. It is what was normally the low ticket offer. It's the community. Get into the community, and if you're not going to, hey, that's kind of it. And the pupils, it was actually, let me just show you this one because it's funny you mentioned that. And again, this is available on the site. Let me just pull this one up here. Go to the community library here. And then, did I open it up here? I don't know if it's, there it is. No, that was the one. Let me just find the right one that I had. Just trying to find the one that I had here. Let me just go to docs here. So if you're wondering about how to monetize stuff, actually go and read this, because one of the things it was kind of talking about is rethinking it. It was like the old education model was about you sell the content. Right now, AI education is like you sell the transformation. Recorded lessons was old school. AI personalized adaptive learning paths is kind of the new school. Static course platforms, interactive community, plus live learning environments. Teacher is a source of knowledge, teacher is a guide, curator, and connector. Marketing focused on my course, marketing focused on your journey. And one of the things that's in here is the revenue streams that are kind of for this. And there's a whole bunch of ways of doing this. I think the point that I'm trying to get across is it's going to be something that is personal and more coaching and teaching than it was about selling courses. which I think is going to be kind of neat for us. But you have to ask. That's one other thing I run into. A lot of times I talk to coaches, and the coaches are going, um, yeah, I got all this great content. I put together my frameworks. I have this process that I do. Um, have you asked anyone to buy anything? Well, no, it's just out there. You still have to ask people to buy. So if you haven't already, make sure to go to trainingscience.io/join and join the community. And you're going to get offers to upgrade your account and join in on all of my live classes. And this is the page. I'll put it here so that you can see it. But I do have live classes. These are the VIP level that's here. And we have live classes. We have 2 to 3 Zoom calls every week covering everything to do with start, build, and grow an education business using the campus map. And again, if you haven't already, it's /pass. It's $97 a month. I would love for you to come in on a monthly basis and spend some time playing around with all of this AI stuff and seeing how it applies to your content. So there's my 2-second sales pitch. But yeah, you got to definitely spend some time selling stuff and actually asking people to pay for it. So hopefully that helped a little bit. Let me see what Kelly's got here. How long have you been going? An hour and a half. Holy mackerel. Give me a thumbs up if you actually been enjoying this. I kind of get going on it. Um, take a couple more questions here. So Kelly was asking, wondered about the avatars, as I'm really tired of having to do makeup or video lighting when I just want to give helpful information. Um, yeah, uh, I when I don't have much hair left to actually worry about that. So Kelly, I can't comment on that particular part. But the avatars, when you get into HeyGen or any of the ones that you'll see on YouTube now, a lot of people are spending money on tools like HeyGen, which you can take pictures of yourself or videos of yourself, and it's pretty close to being able to create a likeness of yourself. And then being able to create the narrations and attaching them with 11 labs is something that is going to be available to us. The other thing is, and again, last week they announced this stuff from Sora 2 from OpenAI. These are like lifelike, realistic, and I think they're limited right now to 16 seconds. But um, we're getting close to no makeup, no hair, not having to worry about it. Just want to give helpful information. I think, having that educational content that comes out is something that we can do. And if it happens to be automated and or in an avatar, that's fine. It's getting close to lifelike. You'll see a lot of people on YouTube, I know, introduce the fact that it isn't them. But even that case, I have a feeling that kind of the live stream part of being a real person that someone can talk to has some value. So Kelly, you might be forced to do a little bit of hair and makeup if that's important to you and the customers that you actually have. The other thing you could do is you could make your face very, very tiny in any of the videos that you do and show more of the screen. So don't have a good answer for you on that one yet. Sorry about that. Um, the Avatar one, Portraits, is the one from Google. It's not available yet. It's only in the experimental labs, but I think it's probably something that's going to kind of happen here. So what else we got here? Yeah. Couple. Russell. Okay. Russell, thank you very much for coming on. HeyGen and 11 Labs for avatars. HeyGen and 11 Labs are kind of neat ones. The way that HeyGen works is that it creates lifelike avatars. It does a little pre-work before you so that you actually have to, can't remember, I looked at it maybe 6 months ago. I don't use it personally, but there's a number of people that I know that do use it. It does cost money. It is a software as a service, but it basically trains itself on, I think, from your videos, or either taking like said side views or head views kind of thing. And it's really good at creating an avatar of yourself. You can also go to 11 Labs, which has a specialty in creating audio avatars. And what it does is it listens to you. Maybe you've got some kind of recording that you've done in any of these, and it creates a pretty good clone of your voice. And then from there, you basically say, here's my transcript. You give it to 11 Labs. You have that transcript in a voice format. You take the MP3 file, you bring it to HeyGen, and HeyGen makes your avatar look like it's speaking your particular script. So yeah, you can start creating those now. It does cost money and it takes time. So you've got to be able to get a bit of a system put together for that. Will it maybe automated in some point in the future? Yeah, I would suspect so. Something going through with that one. What else we got with a couple more questions here. Um, what do we got? Setting up physical desks and mentally to get on YouTube. Yeah, uh, if the if you are just getting on YouTube, you can, there's all sorts of channels about this. I know for myself is when I first started, I thought I had to have a big expensive Sony or Canon camera. I ended up, buying a whole bunch of lights and a whole bunch of stuff to try and get it right, and special microphones. If push comes to shove, go and get a basic microphone, um, like from Yeti, for example, or any of the ones from your local computer store, or order one on Amazon. I preferably like the lavalier mics, which is here. I have one from Hollyland. Rode has them. It's just a little bit more freeing for these ones, but get a good microphone. Use your smartphone for the camera. And if you are pretty good on computers and you're on a Mac, use Ecamm. If you're on a PC, use OBS software if you want it on your own desktop. Other than that, go and open a StreamYard account and basically get started and start talking to the darn camera and do it, play around with it, make some mistakes, and don't get too hung up on it. And one of the hardest parts is just seeing yourself talk and talking to the lens. It can be hard, but if you can get kind of comfortable about it, and don't be hard on yourself going, man, my skin wasn't perfect, or I didn't look at the camera enough. Don't get hung up. Just go and do your thing, have some fun, share your experience, but get started. So hopefully, when you're thinking about that, don't go all out on the equipment at the start. Just get some basic stuff other than a microphone that has some value to it, and then start going. And you'll get as good as you want to be as quickly as you make mistakes. So what else we got here? Practice on Zoom is what I was thinking. Yeah, absolutely. Zoom is fine too. If you're good with Zoom, remember, just record what you're doing. And again, I use YouTube. Now, the reason I use you, if you use Zoom, you can do that. Create content as fast as you want, as quickly as you can on Zoom, and then use a tool. For example, I think Zoom does it itself now, or Descript as an example, but capture the narration, the transcription, get the transcript as well as the video and save them. That's the first part. The reason I use YouTube, and I always stress YouTube, is because I want to build my audience on YouTube. I have to make sure that if someone is looking about my topic, that I show up more than 52 times a year. If you are really pushing it and you're doing smart video edits and all of this post-production stuff, it is a lot of money and a lot of time to do educational content and do it often. So if you do 52 videos an entire year, you don't miss a week, or you do 30 videos a month, what's the difference after 6 months or 9 months or a year? You've got 1,000 touch points where people are going to run into one or some of your videos that are all about a specific topic, or you've got 12. You've got 1,000 transcriptions on your YouTube channel, or let's say 500 transcriptions on your YouTube channel, or you've got 52 from your Zoom video that no one sees on YouTube. So I think YouTube as much as you can. If you're not comfortable, start on Zoom, but just get started. Start creating this stuff, start talking, and start playing around with that. Yeah, so thanks, Jay Don. Work on that. That we go. Process of a big move. So Debbie saying I'm in the process, but will set up my home office studio to be doing is talking about. Yeah, thank you, Debbie. I'm in a bedroom. Kids are gone. I'm in one of the bedrooms. I did a little bit of work in the background. I have two of those Govee stick lights that go up, make the background a little bit blue. I do have one kind of fill light, I guess it's called. I have rosacea, which is a reddening of the face, which took a long time to kind of get my head around and be comfortable doing it. But kind of get a system, and there's no reason to change it right now. Doesn't have to be new all the time, especially if it's educational content or authentic educational content. That's just kind of the way that I look at it there. What else we got for questions here? Uh, okay. Uh, YouTube is eager for fresh content that keeps people on their platform. Will definitely need to be comfortable on the camera and may take that on helping others to do it. Yeah, I think so. If if you're not comfortable, one of the things that I did a video, I think maybe 6 months ago, and I think it's called the Feynman technique. And what this guy did, I think he was a student. He was studying for physics. And again, I'm just recalling this story. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what he was talking about is that when he was studying, everyone would look at flashcards and do all of this stuff they were supposed to be doing before an exam. He was finishing up, I think, one of his engineering degrees or something like that, and he didn't like studying that way because it was like having to remember or just recall stuff that he had learned. And he kind of did this Feynman technique, is that what he did is the way that he studied is the only way that he knew something is if he could explain it to someone else. So if you want or know your stuff and you want to get good at videos and teaching and training and all of this YouTube space, get really good at practicing explaining it to someone else. In this case, it just happens to be the camera. Like if you're going to talk to the camera, just say, hey, look, this is what I want to explain to you. This is why it's important, and this is how it works. This is when you apply it. This is when you don't apply it. Do you have any questions? Let me know. So if you can get comfortable and just knowing from all your research that you've done on AI and your notes, when you look and say, here's my framework or my AI prompt that I use, if you can explain what it is, why you're using it, how it gets used, where it fits in, just explain that to the camera. And don't get hung up on, I need to have a script to read from word for word. Just share your expertise and knowledge as if you're talking to someone else. And once you get that over that, of being able to talk to the camera, the world opens up to you because if you're like me, I'm sure that you can talk about the stuff you're passionate about till the cows come home. Like just an example right now, what are we at? We're at almost 2 hours here. So just kind of talking about this stuff here. So what else we got here? I'm going to take a look, maybe one more question. There we go, Don S. #1 CPA and accounting courses for Ferret Lectures. Thanks for coming on. Is that someone who's just, yeah, do I have these meetings often? Yeah, absolutely. So here's the question. Do I have these meetings often? Yes, absolutely. I do them every Wednesday. And I'll just show you where they are. I'll just open up the site again here. There we go. So if you go to the community site and we go to classes, I think I've got it named classes. We have a calendar here that is available all the time. So it's up at the top calendar. These are the ones that are here now. But every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we have the open classroom, which are these ones, which is a live Q&A. And then on Monday evenings right now, we have for the VIP members, the paid members that have a campus pass, we have one at 7 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. We have another one at either 12:30 or 1 o'clock on the Tuesdays. And then there's also one that isn't listed here that is a one on Friday, which is kind of a recap day. So the paid members, there's Zoom calls for people who are just free members who have a free pass. These are the ones we do on YouTube. And again, they're once a week, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So yeah, I would love to have you on. Again, questions, all sorts of stuff. If you have questions and or you don't want to wait, the community is free. So, just get in. We've got these 4 study halls that are available. We've got general discussion. So if you've got stuff you just want to ask questions about, there's the one from today and the link. Tools and resources that we've used. or that you like using or you have questions about, put them in here. I don't have all the answers. This is a place for you to share what you're using, what you're trying, what's working, what's not working, so that we can learn from each other. Events and announcements. If you do have a live class that you're doing, hey, put it in here. But don't go and promote other people's classes, or don't go and do a sales pitch. It's just like, hey, I'm having a call, I'm having a Zoom call. This is what we're covering. See how it works. I'm in my community. Here's my community. If you have wins and celebrations, you've created an application. We have some members who are creating custom GPTs and putting them in. All sorts of different ones. Here's one from David, actually created an application with Lovable for doing VA loans and for the Veterans Association to be able to tell whether or not they can get approved for a loan or something like that. He built it for a particular one. So all of these spaces, these study hall spaces, are available to you. And of course, if you want to come to the classes and any of the paid members, there's additional study halls here, plus they get access to some additional material plus me, then that's becoming a paid member. So yeah, I would love to find out what you're doing and find a little bit more. My son is actually a CPA, so I'd like to find out what you're doing and what you're teaching. That would be kind of neat there. Okay, what else we got here? There we go. What else I got here? Anything else? Thanks for coming on. So there we go. I'm going to bring it in for a landing today. I just want to thank everyone for coming. I will probably put this one up shortly. What do you think I'm going to do with this? What do you think is going to happen? Let's take a look, and I'll just show you what will happen tomorrow when it becomes available. So this is my workflow, part of my workflow, just so that you see it. If you're watching this again, this is what I end up doing. My throat's a little raw, so hang on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'll go to one of my channel here, and I'm going to pick one of them out. The one that I did, let's do do a video that I did yesterday. Yeah. So here's one here. TV becomes a classroom. I'm going to do that one. So this particular one, we'll just close it here, and I'm going to take the share link. I'm going to copy this. Now, actually, this can be automated. I'm doing it manually just because I'm keeping myself as the human in the loop. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that URL.
Did you know that you can set up your LLC faster than you can finish your morning cup of coffee? Let me show you how. Zen Business makes starting your business fast and easy. For $0 plus state fees.
There. Now what I'm going to do here is we're just going to go to use OpenAI, ChatGPT 4, which is the old one, or Sonnet. I'm just going to use the standard prompt, and I'm going to put the YouTube video in. Okay. And I process one at a time, and I'm just going to start processing videos. So what's happening in the background is it's using OpenAI and the prompt that I have here. It's taking the transcript from the video URL that I gave it, and you're going to see in a second when it's finished that it's actually going to create a post in a tutorial library for me. And hopefully we'll see if this one gets finished processing. And while that's happening, it's going to do a couple things. And again, there we go. Okay. So let's just open this one up. I now have an in draft post that I can go take a look at. So there's the actual YouTube video that's there. And I had OpenAI create the content for it, take out the key steps, what to try next. And then I've also got some, hopefully you want to buy something, sales information. So this is now posted on my website just from that one app that I built, or the agent you built, or using Opal or any of the AI automations. So that part's done. The other part that's here is if I go to, I'm just going to do this. We'll go here for a second while I open up the dashboard. Hopefully what's happened is we'll see here, if I go to Fluent CRM, we open up the campaigns. And there we go. So I now also have the tutorial is set as draft. That was done today. So tells me that the tutorial was set, and if we hopefully go take a look at it, go and open it, it should have written the email directly. There we go. Here's what we learned. Click to watch. So it's actually created the content here. So YouTube content transcripts, blog posts, video tutorials, all sorts of great stuff that you can actually recreate and repurpose from stuff. So hopefully that helps you guys. Again, I'll bring this in for landing. Thank you again. How do I get rid of that? I got to figure out how to get rid of that. Don't know. Not sure. Here's one of those things where you're using a piece of software you don't necessarily remember how to use all of it. I'll try and learn that for next time. If you haven't, like and subscribe to the channel. Come and join trainingsites.io. My name is James. I love doing these things, so we'll see you again next time. Take care. Expect the best.